I thought I was going to be in marketing and working in ad agencies and having long lunches and being super creative. And now I'm working in the field of miracles and helping people step right in. Super fun.
Welcome to the Wild and Finally Fucking Free podcast show. This is a space where truth talking gets real, behind the scenes grit of the future humans is laid bare, and we are celebrating and sharing the real raw stories of change agents, neurosparkly people, the witchy wild women, the deep feelers, the unapologetic sensors, the status quo challengers, and the huge-hearted healers and helpers. And guiding you through this wild ride of entrepreneurship and full heart-led contribution to the world is me, your host, Kylie Patchett, aka KP. I am a proudly neurosparkly, natural-born status quo challenger, and I thrive on helping disruptors, rebels, and revolutionaries find their voices, amplify their message into the world, and harness their raw potential, alchemize it into unleashing your full potency. Not only will I be sharing the behind the scenes of some of the most amazing, most status quo challenging thought leaders, I'll also be lifting the veil behind my own business. In 2024, I 18x'd my monthly income. Still blows my mind to say that. And this year I am leaning into how joyful and fun it would be to shift from 6 figures to 7 figures in a quantum shifting year. All through leading from my full unapologetic voice, my unleashed potency, and with my big, wildly lit up heart leading the way every single step of the way. So together with my guests, I am going to be sharing the mess and the magic, spilling the tea on the identity shifts behind stepping into thought leadership, breaking the ties that bind us, unlearning old patterns, and reweaving brand new ways of living, loving, learning, and leading. We're here to break boundaries, reimagine what's possible, all while collapsing timelines and leading with joy, love, and our fiercest wild woman selves. This is not just a podcast. It is a rebellion. It is a revolution. It is an invitation to join the Mad Hatters collective movement. And by Mad Hatters, I mean all the colourful, creative, gorgeous, world-changing, out-of-the-box humans out there. If you've ever longed to be wild and finally fucking free, this is your sign to lean in. Let's get started. Always start these episodes with a little boogie. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Hello and welcome, Amanda Young. Hello, how are you?
Hello. So good to be here.
You're sitting in a streaming sunlight here. And I'm like, yes, this is Amanda as I know her, coming from the angelic realms to talk to us today. I'm so excited to have you here. And for those of you out there that don't already know Amanda, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm a miracle instigator, and I live outside of Chicago in a small town called Oak Park. And I've been doing this for a decade now, and it's not what I originally thought I would be doing. I thought I was going to be in marketing and working in ad agencies and having long lunches and being super creative. And now I get to do my own art, and I get to help people work through trauma and transitions and all sorts of life things that they're dealing with in really magical ways. And then their life gets easier and things happen that they never thought was even possible. And I can say I honestly love what I get to do every day. It lights me up. People are like, doesn't that drain you to do that stuff? And I'm like, no, it's so incredibly invigorating as you do similar things to bring magic into people's worlds and help them expand into what's possible. So yeah, now I'm working in the field of miracles and helping people step right in. Super fun.
I love that you thought that you were going to be a long luncher. And I'm like, because I know you, I'm like, I can't see you long lunching. You'd be like, this is bullshit. Everybody's fake.
Well, and then when we did it, I had an internship back in college. And I remember going to a long lunch and this woman was like, yeah, I need to go buy a lipstick. And then like we had drinks for lunch and I just can't tolerate alcohol. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to make it in this industry. My body just doesn't like alcohol. I never have been much of a drinker. And I was like, yeah, I'm not one of the Mad Men stars.
It's so funny.
my
Hey,
vibe.
it's like the younger versions of us see something and idealize it, and then we get it and we're like, oh, no, this doesn't seem fun.
Yeah, no thanks. Yeah. I'm really glad that didn't work out.
Oh, that's so good. It's such a blessing when you look back. How did you even become to be aware of the fact that you had this gift for just opening doors and unlocking pathways? I always think of Amanda as like the key in the door, and then the door was open and all the miracles come in for that person. But how did you even, like, where were the whispers about this gift that you had?
It's been such a journey. I think it definitely didn't even start out as whispers. It was much more of a anxiety. I had some night terrors I was having, and then a masseuse was explaining to me that was spirits in my bedroom. And I was like, oh, wait, I see dead people. And she's like that, but I don't really. I've only had a couple of experiences. And that led me into Reiki and then theta healing and then a form of pranic healing called energy mastery. And then that led me to, I was doing mindset work. It just became this cornucopia of stuff, Akashic records. Then I had some key people. I had some people in my life die, and like one died in a tragedy. And that really opened me up because all of a sudden he was one of my guides and then was talking, like I was seeing symbols all the time. And then it just kept spiraling. And then I hired a coach, and then my friend taught me how to do tarot cards and oracle cards. And then the woo just started seeping into my life, I think, in various different forms. And I started my business doing marketing coaching and copywriting for people. And then it became business coaching. And then it became, oh, let's clean up their energy and help them. Let me wave my hands and magically they feel better. And then it became, oh, I can also do mindset work and help them shift into these miracles so that their lives aren't so rough anymore. And now it's, hey, step into the field of miracles. I'm going to be a miracle instigator and just own it and come into my world. Cool stuff's going to start happening to you. And so it is. Let's just throw reality out the window.
And it's, of course, this is all going to happen because, I don't know, when you say field of miracles, like I just have such a visceral experience to that. So yeah, I'm coming into the field of miracles because I feel like the miracles are there all around us, but we've been so conditioned to not see them or don't think that they're possible. And so we don't act in ways that invite them and all of those things. I'm curious, in your own life, how did you, obviously you're opening miracles for other people. What's happening in your own life at the same time? Are you aware that you can step into this field too? Because I sometimes feel like there's that, oh, I can do this for other people, but maybe I can't actually receive it or allow it for myself. What's that, Jen?
Yeah, I'm currently in the field of miracles. I have been for years without really knowing that's what's going on. But I'm going even deeper into it because I'm now challenging myself to create things that are even bigger. You've seen it personally in our work together with my business and expanding into working with clients on a bigger scale. For me, it's about learning how worthy you actually are and deconditioning, deprogramming all the stuff that you've been given. But even there's so many things that have happened in my life in the last, I don't know, handful of years, 5 or 6 years. I ended up investing heavily in a coach and needing to declare bankruptcy because I overinvested. She was, like many coaches do. I know you're on this coaches to coach.
Yeah. I'm on a rampage at the moment.
And so I've worked with a bunch of coaches that have just been like, oh yeah, we can help you and it's going to be amazing and just give us some money and we're going to do it. And so I invested, I think probably over 10 years, I probably invested like $150,000 in coaching, which is a PhD at this point. Yeah. I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what not to do. And for me, that was, they all would say, we can totally help you. You're going to make all this money. It's going to be phenomenal. And I thought it was all under the business, but it wasn't. So then when I decided my marriage was over after 20 years I married my best friend from high school, but we didn't start dating till college. And then we have 2 kids together and he's an incredible guy. And it just wasn't right for me anymore. After when I left, I was like, wait, how am I going to get an apartment? Because I have a bankruptcy on my record. What the hell? And then sure enough, the angel popped out and was just like, hey, I rent to women who are in your situation and I have a space and I think you'd be perfect for it. And then I stayed there for 1.5 years and energetically outgrew it. And I was like, what the hell am I going to do now? Same thing. Another woman was like, I have been through the divorce. I know what you're going through and I'm willing to work with you. And that happened. And now I've just expanded my energetic bubble that this apartment doesn't feel right either. And the next one, I have no idea. It's so exciting. I'm sitting here. I think it's like literally 45 days from now, I will be in a new space. I'm working on manifesting a home instead of an apartment so that I can manage my energy better. I've been working with coaches on really grounding that in. I've learned the secret language of ceremony. So I am one of those people that now goes to the woods and sits by a big tree and just listens and basks in that energy and makes an offering and puts my prayers and plants them in the ground and lets them grow. And I'm recognizing that I get to do that for my clients now too. That's part of this new emergence of what I'm doing, is to take each of those clients and not just do a one-on-one kind of therapy type session where it's just, oh, you've got a problem? Poof, here's the answer. Now what?
Yep.
Now I get to take them put them under my energetic wing and get to say, okay, this is what it feels like for magic to start happen. And then they have magic money coming to them that they weren't expecting. They have, even if things that are quote unquote bad happen to them, we rephrase that. And I say, that's actually not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something you're experiencing. And how can we spin this? Because it's causing you, as we were just talking about before we started this, like the dahlia, it crunches a little and then expands, and it crunches and expands. And I'm doing that. It feels a little bit like an accordion or your lungs, how you just breathe in and breathe out. But I'm realizing that I get to now do that with my clients, and I get to take their prayers and then go plant them by my big favorite tree and do my dance in the woods. I was just talking to one of my other coaches the other day, and I see a drum in your future. I need you to be drumming around this tree, loudly acting weird. She said, be absurd. And I was like, oh, what great advice. Just go.
We all need someone in our life to tell us to be more observant. I had a moment with you earlier this week. You've just done some beautiful new headshots, and as soon as I saw one of them in particular, I see that on the back of, and I thought they were tarot cards, and you were like, no, the oracle cards. And I was just like, there's all of these layers of like all of your beautiful art, and then your ceremony, and then all of the miracle and witchy stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, it so excites me that so many of the heart-led people in the world at the moment are really stepping into new evolutions of work and being able to say, I'm not playing at the edges of the one-on-one, like quick dip your toe in, but then run away again kind of client relationships. That I'm craving these deeper, more, I was going to say more meaningful. It's not that the one-on-one is not meaningful, but it's just, I love that sort of term, the energetic wing, because it's, come on over here. And because I feel like your work does so much in normalizing miracles for people. So it's not like the dip your toe in and, well, here's a miracle or one example, and then people just think, oh, that's a once off, or that was a fluke, or that's a whatever bullshit our brain would tell us. You're kind of going, no, I can teach you how to live in the field of miracles. That is way more fun.
Yeah, I had this woman come to me a couple months ago, and I have a fear of flying. And I said, okay, sure. And we did 2 sessions, and then she texted me from another country and was like, that was the best flight I've ever had. And she had spent thousands of dollars with experts who guaranteed her that they could solve her thing, and it didn't work. And she actually referred another client to me, but she didn't come back. And I was like, why on earth? Because it wasn't a fear of flying. It was a childhood trauma that she needed to unlock, as it typically is.
Yeah.
And when you don't, and you can go to therapy for these things, but it can take months or years, or you can just not get it because therapists are trained in their box. No offense to that, because it works. I've been a therapist and it's great. But like the magic of being able to do this off record, like just out of bounds, like I can play out of bounds. I can go to the past life stuff. I can go to the Akashic. I can just I can use my intuitive connection, my claircognizance to go into the world and the realms that people can't see otherwise. And when she didn't come back for more work, I was like, oh my goodness. And you and I talked about this the other day. I realized it's not the peak. She thought she had peaked and was like, problem solved, next. And I'm like, no, this was the door. That was the miracle. And I can give you all the miracles. And she just shut the door. And I was like, oh, how sad for her. And I think that's at one point I had a coach many years ago say to me, you're going to go stand in front of the stage of an entire auditorium full of people, and you're on stage and you're getting an award, and you stand up on stage and one of the people in the audience says something shameful. It was like, we're really pissed off that it's taking you this long to let your light out of the box. And I was just like, holy crap. Like, it hit me viscerally. And I remember like tearing up and being like, oh my God, people need my light. Like, they're pissed at me. This entire room of thousands and thousands of people are mad because I haven't shown, like, I've been hoarding my gifts but we've been taught to hoard them. We've been taught to shut them down and turn them off. And it's so sad to see that. And I sit with my clients time after time. Literally this week, I said to a woman, at what point in your life did you decide that you were no longer worthy? Is it like 5 years old, 10 years old? Like, at what point is your daughter not going to be worthy? Does she hit a time?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, oh, you're 13 now. You're going to become a woman. We're no longer going to value you. Like, screw that. I'm not available for that anymore. And I'm said to my guides the other day, like, named off all my grandparents and was like, yo, when did this shit generationally hit my box? Because I'm done. Like, I'm throwing out your trash.
Yeah.
I'm no longer available to not be worthy enough to be charging what I'm worth and doing the work I'm doing and showing up in a more beautiful way. And you called it last night when you said, we're going to just interview and you're going to get on your soapbox and you're going to show up and you're going to shine and you're going to be like, this is who I am. You either like me or you don't.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if you love me, like, the miracles are going to come rolling in. You want to come play, but I'm not for everybody. And I know that for sure now, but I'm not going to shrink myself anymore for it, which is really, I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the point now where I can stand up on stage and be like, no, I did show up. I am showing up. And if you're
exactly.
Now my clients can show up and they can meet me there.
This is the thing, like, we don't understand. I'm always saying to people, like, the gift that you have, yes, the medicine is for you. It's also for the rest of us. So if you don't give yourself permission for you, then you are ripping the rest of us off. But I do feel like there is so much to be said for, I don't know, sometimes I feel like in the coaching industry, people go to like I don't want to say the end of the spectrum because it's not finite, but they leap from doing their training all the way to I am the expert and I'm amazing at this. And there's something to be said for owning your potential, but I do feel like there's a bit of instability in that if you haven't done the yards, right? And when you're speaking, I'm like, this woman knows who she is. She knows what her gifts are. You've done it, rinse and repeat in a way that has felt like good and safe. And now it's like, you're actually being invited to this whole new evolution, and it's scary as fuck. And people need to understand that just because it's scary doesn't mean it's possible. But also, like we have been talking about, like that dahlia thing, I always keep that in mind because it's like when you expand, there is a natural contraction that happens after it. That is the way of the world. And that contraction doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means that you're on the edge of where you haven't ever been. But by you owning this, like I don't know, like one of those photos, like I was just like, this chick looks like a queen in these photos. You've got the most glorious hair. I love your hair. You said genetic jackpot. You certainly did. You've got this gorgeous hair and it's like sweeping down your face. And I'm like, she needs a crown and a throne. That is such a key theme for you in your work. It's like this sovereignty and rulership. And as you're stepping into it and owning it, you're giving permission for your clients to actually take their places as well. And I feel like that's such a gift and we just don't understand. I know it's very easy to be in the human and feel the edge of contraction or whatever, but this beautiful, I don't know, it's like a slipstream of invitation comes behind us, right? So, hang on a minute. If she can own that, then I can own that. I'm really curious. What do you feel like? Do you see themes? Actually, no, I want to ask you about cognizance as well. So when you started to get all of these kind of more clear, like the tragedy happened, you got like more awareness of guides, etc. Did you have any time where you were like, this is not like real or not safe or not? I feel like sometimes when people have that first bit of spiritual awakening, there's a bit of what's going on.
Yeah.
Destabilizing.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. When I was having the night terrors, it was like a man was standing at the end of my bed and I would wake up screaming, like, what the heck? I ended up going on a wackadoodle journey. I was in outside of Las Vegas for a event, and these two women who were psychics pulled me aside. Like, I was talking to them about it, and they're like, oh, you have an attachment or an entity or something. Shit just got weird, Kylie, like super weird. And I was like,
Did they
all
slip
right,
you a drink first?
huh?
Did they slip you a drink first?
Though you would think, right? Me and my water. Because I was just explaining to them what was going on, and they're like, we can totally help you with that. And I went into this hotel room with them. I don't know why, but I'm so called to do this. And they did this, I want to say like an exorcism. I know this sounds absolutely ridiculous, but all I know is that my hands, like my shoulders, they had me rolling my shoulders, and energetically my hands felt like Iron Man. There was so much light coming out of them, and I felt this thing release from me. And there was this whole story about apparently when you are born, and I don't even know how much of this I'm on board with, but it was like it was almost like I got scared when I was coming into this world, and I hooked on to another soul and brought it with me. And we were conjoined twins in a past life, and there's a worry about, we were in the circus together. We were part of the freak show. It was like this whole thing. And so this whole story, but after that, I gotta say, I felt a hell of a lot better. And it was just so weird that I was like, nothing I'm doing is even remotely as close to this weird. But I will say that when I learned Theta Healing Basics, I learned how to do muscle testing. And that's when it opened up for me, because it was a 3-day training in this woman's home. And she kept just having us go up to the 7, but we went into Theta, and then my eyes would start fluttering. And then when we would ask these questions, and we learned how to muscle test, but we also, for me, muscle testing became like a wink. Yeah. Instead, I don't have to use my body. It's just like it's going. Yeah. And I think that's when the claircognizance started to kick in, because when people are like, do you feel things? Do you know things? Do you see things? I don't really see much, but I definitely, all of a sudden I'll be like, I don't know why I'm supposed to ask you this question, but here's the question. And then people are like, sometimes they burst into tears, and sometimes it's just a sense. Occasionally I'll get the goosebumps and the tingles and we're on the right track. But for the most part, it's just a knowing, I don't know that it's scary. Sometimes it's confusing more than anything, and I want it to be more clear. I almost want them to turn it up even more. And I have friends that I've at this point, I know probably like 200 people in the world that I've worked with. And some of them can see your guides behind you and feel these. And I was like, I don't really see them. I can't identify who they are unless I go through a whole series of questions and muscle tests. And I would like to I'm afraid of the whole, I see dead people, but I don't know. I'm open to whatever. Like, I feel like there's an opportunity for them to turn up the clarity on things. Maybe not the weird, but I'm open to even feeling even more of it. And that's, exciting.
Cool. I love how, because I'm very visual. I definitely see more than anything else. Although sometimes I hear a voice, which has definitely freaked me out in the past. And I'm like, have I got something going on mental health wise? But I recognize it now as, I feel like it's like the voice of, I don't know, the voice of God, the voice of the universe, the voice of the goddess, like whatever words you want to put around it.
Yeah.
And actually the very first time I heard that was, I just had a friend share something that happened to her yesterday, and it reminded me when I was managing a medical company, I had this moment. I'm sure I've said this to you at some stage in the past, but I had this moment where I had gone to where our new, like a lot of medical suites were, and there's big heavy glass doors, and it had one of those really like heavy metal handles that you had to turn down and push the door. And I heard a voice, this was when I was 26, a long time ago, heard a voice saying, you are hemorrhaging your joy here. And I was like, what? But yeah, I don't know. Like when you say, I feel like I would love all of those things turned up, but I also wonder whether it would destabilize our human experience.
I think, I have a friend that feels things really intensely, and it is destabilizing for her at times. Yeah. And I think I worked with psychics that work with little kids to help them feel into their feelings. And even with my teenagers, I will ask them, my daughter used to have this tingly thing on her back. And when we started digging into it, it's just her spidey sense of something's not right. And so once we start playing with that, my son would go into, he has this cool ability, like he would go into antique stores. We would go, if we were stopping into a Goodwill or something, and he'd be like, Mom, give me the keys. I gotta go sit in my car. And I was like, what's going on there? And it was, he just feels all of it. I have two gorgeous little empaths, right? And so when I actually had a friend work with him, and she was just like, she taught him return to sender, and he just sends all the energy back, and now he's fine. But we're all learning. Is this my energy? Is this somebody else's? And I get that I talk about my clients being secretly magical, because a lot of them don't even know that they're just so shut down that they haven't owned their intuition. They don't understand. They don't have the language for it, because it's all woo and out there and which is crazy. Mm-hmm. So part of this is getting them online with feeling into their feelings and what it's like to be in their body, and actually, oh, hey, that's your intuition. And so many of them will say, oh yeah, when I don't listen to my gut, things don't go well. And it's like, and when you listen to your gut, they do. And even I teach my niece how to do human design. She's a projector, and all of a sudden she's just, whoa, this is life changing. I use a lot of human design in my work like you do. And it's been really helpful for clients to just be like, oh, wait, this is what's going on. Yeah. So I think my whole advice to people when they're working with me, or just in general, is to learn who you are and how you work, and what your claircognizant, like what your superpowers are, as far as if you're claircognizant or clairvoyant or whatever, and get a mentor to help you work through that stuff and hold space for that to be safely done. Because I think I have a friend too who sees dead people all the time, and it is freaky. No, thank you.
Don't think I'd want that one. Although I would like to chat with my dad on the daily. So maybe if I could just one dead person, please, would you mind?
Yeah.
Although I have a friend who's a medium, and she's doing like a soul session with me. She's expanding into new ways of being as well. And she's, because she saw my dad a couple of times ago, and she's, your dad's not available today. He's got some archangel stuff that he's doing. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like my dad. Like he was always into community service, right? So he's saying hi, but he's just passing it through. I was like, yeah, that does actually sound like my dad. What I was going to ask before, and you've led into it a little bit, is do you see themes in how your clients have made themselves unavailable to see or feel or sense any of the miracles? And you mentioned understanding how you're designed and things. So I guess one of the ways is pretending to be someone that you're not. And so therefore you're playing in a field that makes it very hard for you to even notice things. But do you see other themes? Like, how do we actually, like, when did we freaking forget? First of all, that's a big question.
That's a great question. I mean, it's just not safe. Like, for me, what I learned is apparently I have this gift. I think of it as having some markers. I don't know. It's almost not like physical drawing markers, but almost like a genetic marker or some sort of, I have a gift where a total stranger will come up to me and just like vomit out everything in their personal life that's going on. Like, I would be standing at an event in line at the buffet, and one would come up to me and be like, yeah, my husband died of COVID, and that's why I'm here. I'm trying to make new friends. And I was like, holy crap, this is way too much information to give somebody in the first 30 or 60 seconds. But I have a friend I go to coffee with, and or we go get tea. I don't drink coffee, but we get tea. And she says, I've watched it for years, Amanda. I've known you for 20 years. And I just watch people, they come up and they just drop this stuff on you. And you're just like, yeah. And you just go with it without missing a beat, because, and like, a lot of times it's grief. It's fascinating. But what happens is when I think I'm a human being that can hold I have a grief marker because I lost this friend in this tragedy. It was actually a theater shooting in Colorado years ago. But it has taught me how, like, the energy of a national trauma and what it's like to feel that, and to the point where when the Queen Mom died, I don't know, a year ago or whatever, I could feel the grief of the country and the whole world. And I was like, man, why am I? Oh, that's, again, going to somebody else's energy. But what I find with I think the themes with my clients, I will find that when it's almost like I'm in school sometimes, and all of a sudden I'll have all different variety of clients who come to me with different angles of suicidal things. Like one of them had a dad die, and one of them had suicidal ideations, or there's some sort of connection in there. And I'm like, oh, and it's almost like I'm getting a 360 tour of what that feeling and what that is. Yeah. And then it's like I graduate from that, and then all of them have the next ailment. They all have a parent that's died or a loss of a sibling or something. It's like a major grief thing. So what I find though with their themes, as far as it's like not feeling safe and being conditioned not to love their body or their gifts or whatever's magical about them. For some reason, they've been shut down, and it's what they think should be. They're shooting on themselves all the time.
Yeah.
Trying to please other people. You talk about so many of these things that your clientele is just drawn to this good girl, people pleaser.
Yep.
It's about
good girl clothing. That's my avatar of clients.
Yeah. It feels like worthiness and lovability and being able to set boundaries and hold space for yourself. And really, I think a lot of people that I work with are moms who have lost their identity when they had kids. And I remember being on the playground and everyone would be like, hi, I'm Susie's mom. And I was like, hi, I'm Amanda. Ian and Ada are my children, period. Like, I was just like, I will not be defined. Some days I'm like, I'm Ada's mom. But it was really out of exhaustion instead of, I knew that I needed to hold my ground as a human and not just be like, look, I'm a walking milk producer. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I am the walking arranger of this group of humans because by definition, I'm the mother and therefore I have to be. As you're talking, I just feel like it's all of I know we use the word conditioning so much, but all of the ways in which we've been taught that being ourselves is not okay. All that safety stuff and the worthiness and all of those things. And I just feel, like there's so many. It's so interesting. I'm in this group doing a training at the moment, and a lot of people are in the States. And the last call that we're in, there was a lot of angst about what is going on politically and everything. And I guess in one way, in Australia, we are removed from it a little bit in terms of the impact, although it will have repercussions. But I was just drawn to we really make our own awarenesses by what we let into our field and what we don't. And
100%.
Why I don't watch news at all. I'm very ignorant of most things that go on in the world. And I've had really heated conversations with people about how can you not be? I'm like, I don't actually think us humans are meant to know everything that happens everywhere. But I just feel like when I feel into the work that you do, like I keep on, you've shown me a picture of your favorite tree where you go to do your thing. And I just feel like it's such a call back to the basics of being in tune with nature, in tune with our own nature, so our own design, and just letting go of all of the boxes that we've been given. Because I don't know, as we're talking, I've never really put this together with you in your work, but the miracles, like when you're inside of any box trying to be anything but who you really are, the miracles can't even find you. It's like you're hiding from them or something.
Because your expectations are elsewhere. And I think I'm turning 46 this year, and I've spent most of my life externally focused on, let me go get it. Let me go find it. Where is it? Show me the answers. But I remember in math class, we had textbooks that like all the odds were that the answers were all in the back of the book. And it was always about finding the right answer. We were trained to find the right answer. And it was always outside of us, and our elders always knew best. And I've since grown up and realized, they say there's a point where the student becomes the teacher. And I finally feel like I am the teacher. I'm also a student I'm always going to be a student because I'm a lifelong learner. It's part of my human design to just always absorb new knowledge. And I'm always thinking, oh, I want to learn this. I want to learn this. And for me, it's so much more understanding that there is a point where we become the teacher and we actually have the knowledge that we need, but also understanding that it's an inside job. It comes from inside of us, but we are so friggin' turned off. We are just taught. I remember when I had kids, when I was in labor, I looked at my husband and he's like, how can I help you? Do you want me to rub you or something? And I said, no, sit there and look pretty. Just sit there pretty. And he was so shocked by that. And we talk about it still to this day because I can't believe that's what you said to me. And I was like, I feel like that's what people told me my whole life was just sit there and look pretty. And I'm like, I'm so much more than that. And sometimes you just don't need somebody up in your business interacting with you. Like my body knows how to physically get this baby out of me. And I remember too, when the doctor, again, like externally, the system is like, we're going to put you on Pitocin. We're going to give you a epidural, the whole thing. We're going to push it through. And I looked at them and I said, no, I'm going to do this naturally. Thank you. And they were like, we need to go find a nurse that can handle that because that's not something we get all the time. And I was like, it's like 80%. It was like 80% of people got, I don't even know this stat could be wrong, but it was 15, 17, 18 years ago. But it was like 80% of women were getting Pitocin or having assisted labors, and they just didn't know what to do with me. And then I came back the second time and I looked at the doctor and we could give you some Pitocin to get this started. And I said, you can go fuck yourself. And she's like, call your doctor. And 2 natural births. And I know that's not possible for anyone. There's no judgment in that. It's just like, I knew it was just like, and I understand like you go in with a birth plan, it gets thrown out the window and you just have to let go and let God. There's a real survival moment in all of it. But for me, I don't know. I'm doing my best to find the ways. There's moments where therapy is great. There's moments where magic is great. There's moments where Western medicine is great. There's moments where magical medicine is great. I'm weaving all those together and understanding that there's a place for all of it and it can all exist happily together somehow.
I feel like I want to pull on the thread of the whole labor thing because I had a magical conversation with a lady yesterday who she went through cancer and then off the back of that decided she was going to walk the Camino. And so she walked 800 kilometers in 5 weeks and has gone on to walk all over the world and is just about to leave for three years of traveling with her husband. And one of the things that we talked about heaps was this pace at which we've been taught that things have to happen and that there's a plan and it's the same as a labor thing. And I just feel like it's more of the same. We're being pulled out of our own timing, our own natural pace, our own alignment, our own knowing, and it's all the same problem. As I'm talking to you, I'm like, that's how we block miracles. And I think for me, it's such a difference to the way that I was conditioned was productivity, work, worth, like you put your nose down to the grindstone and you get the result. And that works, but far out, man, it takes a cost, doesn't it? And I just feel like, almost everything we've been conditioned to believe that comes from industrialized cultures where we're all meant to be part of this big machine is false and it's blocking miracles. It's to blow it all up and start again.
Yeah, it's like cracking the whip. And I am so productive. I am a generator in human design. I am one of the worker bees that gets shit done, no doubt. And I have done miraculous things in short amounts of time. I'm a quick start. Like I just know if somebody's got a big problem and they give it to me, I'm going to solve it. I'm going to make it more efficient, more effective. I'm going to make it happen. And that's great. But I'm also recognizing that there's a way that you can really burn out in that. And I've been through the layers of burnout. I've been through so many careers and trying to fit in other people's boxes. And I've quit so many jobs. You and I have that in common. I think last count I probably have about 35 different jobs. It's just, I need variety. I know I'm an entrepreneur. I'm neurosparkly on top of it. Like when you put all these ingredients together, I know that I'm meant to be an entrepreneur and I'm meant to do my own thing at my own pace. And the timing of it is fascinating because I have always been like a get it hustler. And I think this last 3 years of my life, since deciding to go through with the separation and the divorce and rebuilding my whole life, I've just been like, screw all of it. I'm not available for that pace. And I'm somebody who goes like 0 or 60. Yeah. I'm out way fast, super fast on the track or super slow. Yeah. I have shades in the middle and I am trying to be less dual, having less duality in my life and less all or nothing. And finding the gray areas and really sitting into them. But I'm somebody who takes a lot of naps and that's my body at this point in this phase is just, hey, we need a timeout. And my stress levels, like I've always had anxiety since having kids.
Yeah.
especially. And so for me, that level of my body just needs breaks. And I'm now wearing this new wearable thing that's tracking. And it's just, you're getting so much great sleep. Your recovery is amazing. And I'm like, I'm looking at it like, wow, I love that you're loving up on me. And at the same time, I'm like, it says I'm doing a good job, but my body still wants more. And I'm recognizing that and listening to that more than anything and just saying, I'm trying to pay attention to what are the foods that fuel me? What are the people, who are the people that fuel me? Who like, and even more on the human design side, listening because I'm an emotional, I just, all of it is what feels good to me, what doesn't feel good to me. Tonight, I can go to a euchre tournament or I can go to someone's home and play euchre with 4 other women. And the tournament's what's feeling good to me. And there's some connection to my potential home. I'm going to meet somebody, something like it's the nudge, right? It's just maybe it's smarter for me in some ways to go with the group that I've been going to, but there's something calling me to this other thing. And my curiosity is just piqued. Let's go see what happens. It could be a total flop and I could walk away and be like, all right, maybe that wasn't a thing, but I'm going to go to the next thing.
Yeah.
It just follow. Right. So for me, that pacing, I'm getting to the point now where I will go to an event and it will feel wrong and I will turn around and walk away. And it used to be, oh, you should stay. This is the proper, fuck that, all of it. Yeah. I just don't, I'm not buying into it anymore.
It's so good. And I just feel, I don't know, the older I get, the more I become more unapologetic about my needs. I had this hilarious thing happen during the week. I feel like being neurosparkly, it's such a journey of, what's the word? Here in our disability services sector, we call things like accommodations or adjustments for people with different abilities. And so one of the things that I'm really trying to lean into is giving myself the ability to be like, you know, if I plan to stay at someone's house and then it doesn't feel right for me, then I'm trying to also extend that to other people. I'm not also requiring other people to be outside of what they do. But I just feel like sometimes when the neurosparkly, like the rejection sensitivity is there as well, I'm like, oh, I can do it to other people, but don't walk out of my event because that would really hurt me.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's so much wisdom in, again, that to me is rulership because it's just, it's not right for me to be in this room anymore. So I won't be, regardless of what that you could make that mean or blah, blah, blah. And really, no one else is paying as much attention to us as what we think they are anyway.
It is so funny when you said that. So my grandmother, her name is Margaret, and we now use it as a verb. I'm gonna go Margaret something now because it was, we have this joke that she's the little old lady that would go to the grocery store, get what she needs, cut the line, pay for it, and leave before anybody knew what happened. And so I will now call my aunt and my mom, or I'll text them and just say, hey, I just pulled a Margaret. And they will be like, what now? And it'll just be like, I find a parking space and you shouldn't turn, whatever rule it is, I'm going to break it. I went to an event once and it's like an open house. There's, I don't know, 40 people in line to check out. And I know the owner and I just wanted a t-shirt and I had a $25, it was like a $25 t-shirt. And I had a $20 credit. So I literally said, here's the tag for you to ring up later. Here's the money you need for the difference. It'll cover tax. I don't care. I'm walking out. And people just looked at me like, how the fuck did you do that? And I'm like, and you're always telling me it's my network that is my net worth, right? Because I'm a 1-4. And that's in human design for people listening too, right? Yeah, it's because I know the owners of places and I just say to them, like, I don't want to be here for the next hour. You don't need me to check out right now. I can come back and get it tomorrow if you prefer, but I'd rather just take the t-shirt and go. Figure it out later. If you need me to come back, I will. But it's all the little things, like how can this be done way more efficiently? And yeah, so I channel her a lot she was a entrepreneur before her time. My mom talks about how when she was feeding them, she put snaps on the bottom of the bib and then clips on the bottom of the table. So she snapped the bib to the table to catch all the food. She would have been a fucking billionaire. She was a seamstress and a hairstylist. She owned a salon in her basement and she had 3 kids and she did it all and she just made it all work. And she would invent stuff. It just was, but she also went golfing and was in a bowling league. Like, she knew how to take care of herself and her home and her clients and be entrepreneurial.
She was well ahead of her time.
Ahead of her time. Yeah.
Margaret, the OG unicorn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
And she's one of my biggest supporters and guides. I don't know that it's her. I just
feel, Is this where the spectacular hair comes from as well?
Yes.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Yeah. My mom always jokes, she's like, we got enough hair for 20 people. And I'm like, yeah, but it's great.
Luxurious. I just feel like you could, if you ever wanted another career, you could be in the hair commercials doing that.
It's so funny because when people say, like, how do you describe Amanda in 3 words? They're like, the hair. Their hair just walks. Yeah, it just comes.
And also now the crown, because I'm going to buy you one and send it to you because you absolutely need it.
I used to have it. Oh, I have a mask. I have a masquerade mask.
Yeah.
I'll work on that I'll need that with my drum. I'm going to have to go get my drum, and maybe I wear my tiara in the woods with the fairies. And
you know what? If you did, it wouldn't even surprise me or look out of place, because it'd be like, Amanda's just doing Amanda.
That's where it's at, right? I think owning it, and maybe that's what I need to do to make my intuition louder, is to wear a crown and be like, and now is the time for you to turn this up.
Yes. I was just thinking before, I'm like, maybe Margaret's the one that you need to talk to about turning up the volume and be like, hey, crank this up a bit. She seems like the cosmic boombox type of gal. As we were talking about that in the woods, I wonder, when you think about the clients that you help, what is some of the things that like surprise and delight them? Because I'm imagining that the people that you work with, they may think like their field of possibilities might be like 1 degree open, and then I'm just like, then they get amended and they're in the field of miracles. So yeah, I wonder what surprises and delights them when you've told some wild stories.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that for other people. What I would say for me is that I've had 3 women now, I think, come to me, and they're like, medically, there's no reason that they can't get pregnant. Some of them are trying, 2 of them were trying in vitro or IVF or IUI.
Yeah, one of those, yeah.
Yeah, and one of them was like, oh my gosh, this is my last hope. It was like hope of that moment in Star Wars where, hope, tell me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. She's like on the phone with me, and she's like, I've got this last chance. And the nurses keep calling me and are like, we don't think it's going to work. And I was like, you tell those motherfucking nurses to shut their ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they said this baby's going to stick. And sure enough, that baby's 4 years old now, right? And I'm just like, we just need... God, what I wouldn't give to be able to just go do seminars with the people that are doing fertility treatments and be like, okay, let's revamp your entire process to give people hope every step of the way, because it's a mindset thing. Yeah. And I had another woman who came in, she was working on getting pregnant, and I was like, you're so worried about dying and leaving your kid behind that you're not willing to let the baby in womb. Yeah. And then I had another one there was some legacy thing that was going on in between. I think she was doing IUI, and then she was getting ready to do IVF, and they were doing all these tests and trying to figure out if she was even viable. She went and got knocked up naturally because we had done this work. And I was like, wait, did you just save $100,000 on IVF? She's, yeah. I'm like, I'm not charging enough.
Yeah, no, I think that's the realization, isn't it? It's, oh my God, I'm not actually being respectful of this gift by allowing it to be like a super low cost, and then not, like you were saying before, why would that person not come back? And it's got so much to do with the energy that we actually, like, to me, everybody's legacy work is sacred. And when we realize that, it's like, oh, hang on a minute. I'm actually not receiving in an equitable fashion, but it's also, there needs to be fair exchange for things. And I know there's so much bullshit in the coaching world about charge your worth, you're priceless. So it's a ridiculous conversation where values are overinflated, but then there's this whole side of the internet And often it is the healers and helpers that are like, I don't know. And I think there's some old stuff there about we should be able to give it away because we have these natural gifts. And it's like, yeah, okay. So the person who built your house gives that to you too. Does that feel fair? Yeah.
And to think that a lawyer is charging, $500 an hour or X amount of money for it, just the things that I'm so fascinated, because when I say to somebody, when somebody comes to me and says, I think I need to get a divorce, or I'm not sure about my marriage, and I look at them and I say, I can't guarantee whatever outcome is going to happen or what the miracle is for you, but I can tell you, I can help hold space for you to actually get in touch with who you are inside and figure out which path you want to go forward, whether you want to work on the marriage or separate and figure it out, or you're sure you want to get divorced. Whichever path you go, I can help smooth that path so that it's a lot easier for you to manage that and make it easier on your children, bring it together. And I've worked with a couple recently he came in after we had done some sessions with her, and he joined us, and I looked at him and I said, how are you feeling? This has been the best time in our marriage. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, okay, so come back for more. I'm waiting for them to come back for more, because I don't think people recognize that you can spend $7,500 or $10,000 on coaching or $20,000 on coaching, or you can start paying for 2 households and 2 lives when, you could have saved that, or maybe you still need to pay for 2 lives and you do need to separate, and you're going to invest in coaching so that you can expand into the field of miracles. So that perfect job that's going to provide that new income level for you is there. It's just, we're so conditioned that a single mom is going to be poor and struggling and suffering.
Yes.
I'm like, all the labels, that's one of the first things I want people to do, is just get rid of the label and be like, yeah, I don't have to take on the
story
identity.
Yeah. It's all just one way of being, because when we start, this is why I love thinking about expanders, because in a human design perspective, I've got a completely open G center, which means that I'm like a chameleon. And until I really understood that, I was like, why am I always so changeable in the way that but now what I understand about that is it's almost like what we were saying about with the news. I need to know that I can be influenced by other people's very clear identities, and make sure that where I'm swimming is the field of the miracle expanders for me. So people who I admire, people who have the same values, people who wouldn't ever fuck people over, all of those kind of things, so that as I'm expanding, because I do feel like so much of what can pull us off track, you can make meaning of it through the lens of human design. It's, oh yeah, that makes sense because this is an open center for me or whatever. But just understanding for people that we've been conditioned. This is one of the biggest things actually, as we're talking, that comes into my field, is we've been conditioned to value the serious professions, like the medical people and the specialists and the lawyers and the whatever. And I'm like, how have we come to a point in time where we don't value as clearly or highly opening up more potential for ourselves, or more growth, or more evolution, or a path that allows us to know whether we do want to be in a marriage or not? It's such a weird... It's so ass about, isn't it? It's like if you lived in the field of miracles.
Yeah, we're totally taught to just abandon ourselves over and over. And I married an architect. He was the steady Eddie and straight and narrow. And then I'm over here zipping around all these different things, trying to butterfly my way into what feels good. And it still just didn't, it just wasn't the right thing for me. It's so fascinating to see how we can just bounce around and feel lost. And even when you're talking about being a chameleon, I can also be a chameleon, but it's because I don't know if there's something different it doesn't feel like there's something different in my human design. It feels like I was doing it to mask, I was masking, because I can fit in anywhere. But that's also that maybe it's closer. It sounds like it's closer to my 4 line of my 1-4, where I'm a networker, because I can go anywhere and talk to anyone.
Natural, yeah.
And that's the talent. We used to joke with about my mom. She would go to the grocery store for milk and come back 4 hours later because she knows everybody in town. And
my husband does that all the time. Even just yesterday, he went to get eggs, and I'm like, did he leave at 2:00? It's now dark. It's literally
some chickens. Now you have chickens in the backyard.
I do have chickens in the backyard, but no, what had happened was he ran into someone who's from the same town we used to live in, which is 3 hours away, and they've just moved, and now he's going to have a drink and meet Dave's wife and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, I literally cannot allow you out of my sight without losing. But his mum
got to put a tracker on him. Yeah, no, it's the same way. And I can strike up a conversation with anybody, and it goes back to those markers and the ability, but it's all about creating safety for people, right? Like it's not, there's just, I think some people that have auras of safety that really make people comfortable right away. And for me in my work, I've seen people, or I've had people say to me, working one session with you was like 6 months of therapy. And I'm like, yeah, because in therapy, you have to spend all this time getting to know the other person and you might not feel safe. I have that unique ability for people to come over to me and just drop right into the safe zone. And I'm like, okay, I know this is your first session, but we're going to go deep. Do I have your permission? And they're like, yes, let's do it. And then all of a sudden I rip off the Band-Aid, pull out the goblin inside. They're like, yes. Wow. I have a client recently she does a lot of work with unlawful death, I think is what it's called, like accidental death, right? So she sees a lot of videos of people dying all the time. This shit's weighing on me energetically. And I just, like you were talking before, when you're on the edge of your expansion and you're not sure what to do, because I'm working with my guides and I have this intuitive connection, I was just like, all right, what do we need to do to help her? And all of a sudden it was like, this is what you're doing, step 1, 2, and 3. And we just released them, put them in a ball of love. And I said, this is your programming going forward. If anybody comes in and you feel like you need to release them, this is your protocol. And you just say, I'm putting you in a ball of love. May you rest in peace. I value your soul. Your life was given for a good purpose, and then release it. And I can't tell you how incredible I feel after doing that. It was years and years of death getting released from her in one session, and at like one moment of one session. And that's like the yummy goodness that I take for granted at this point, because I'm living in that miracle field with my clients all the time. So that when a client comes in and they're like, oh yeah, one of them is, oh my God, the poor thing. She's been through so much, but every time she comes, and this is happening that's good, and this is happening that's good, and then I got all this money, and then all my bills got paid, and then this is cured, and this is, and I'm looking at her like, I'm sorry. I just can't even. Can you just go out and come back when you actually have some real friggin' problems? Because it's just like, she's shitting rainbows, right?
Yeah.
With very little effort. And I'm like, let's just crank this up and see. What if I actually have clients that come consistently and get put into a more, what's possible? Let's play with this. Let's crank it up and just turn it on even. I guess that's my whole theme today, is turn it up a little better. Turn up the miracle.
But it's so cool though. It's because the way that you've been working with people, there's a part of me that's, you know what? So many of us settle at what is easily like accessible, and it flows easily. It feels safe because you've been doing it rinse and repeat for years. You know that, and we've talked about this before, when someone is in front of you, it just turns on. There's no efforting. It's something that comes really naturally to you. And I just admire when I see a woman expanding into, but hang on a minute, there's this pull towards something even more delicious, and it's got a spicy edge to it, because it's like, how much delicious am I allowed to have in my life? But I feel like that's the definition of being on the front end of the expansion that you're inviting other people into, right? It's like maybe I've only been playing in 50% of the miracle field, and I can expand into 100 and bring you with me. So I can't wait to hear what house materializes for you, because I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good one. Because she's more pleased.
It's so fascinating. It's even more, you turned me on to this book. I don't remember who the author is. The 2 times is better than 10 times, or two times is harder than 10 times.
Benjamin Hardy. Yeah.
Yes, Benjamin Hardy. So when I listened to that, I listened to his interviews and read parts of the book, I was just like, oh yeah, it just takes away your options. And really, and I've given this advice to so many people so many times, but even in manifesting my home, there are so many options that aren't there. And it is a 10-time magnification for me. So there's a very large piece of me that's just, holy shit, what the hell are you doing? And the rest of me is just, hold on, we got this. Somebody's holding on. Like there's something magical happening here. And I just trust I'm not going to be homeless. I have multiple friends that are like, hey, you can live with me if it takes longer or whatever. I have options. But there is this, I find that even with my clients, when I said to one the other day, like, what is it you actually want? And her answer was to be cloned. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. So what do you actually want? And I was like, what if we did this instead? And she's, oh, yeah. I'm like, just have some harmony in your life. You don't need to believe in balance because I think that's bullshit, but harmony. I'm like, and what I explained to her was like, if you step into your sovereignty, become the ruler of your life and really own, if you set the boundaries that you need to set, and if you show up fully in who you are and how you show up and how you're meant to be, you're conducting your own orchestra. If you want the drums to be louder or the winds to be louder or the trombone to kick it even deeper, whatever it is, you get to gently let those rise and flow and create this beautiful harmony. You can bring in entire new instruments or cut it down to just 3, whatever you want. You really get to build it how you want to. And I think that's when people really start to step into their genius and step into their magic. And that's when the miracles can happen because you're co-creating. We all are made of stardust. There's a God inside of us. Like we are embodiment of that. And I guess I keep going back to the St. Francis of Assisi's prayer, like, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace, because that's my whole purpose here, is to be in service of God. And regardless of my religion or where, I'm not religious, I'm very spiritual. I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And just sitting in the magic, feeling into the energy of it. Like we're all connected. When somebody across the world, something bad happens, my heart breaks. I don't pay attention to the news. I really try to avoid it and stay in my own lane because I'm here to do magical things. And it's harder when you're bogged down by all that other stuff. But I can also send love, and I can recognize the grief. I can send love to all of it. I can see that somebody's struggling and say, angels, go on over there and help them out.
It's so funny. St. Francis is the patron saint of the school I went to.
Oh, interesting.
So I actually, for the whole of my high school, said that prayer every single day. And I have actually never not thought about it for a long time. Yeah, it's so funny. There was a statue of St. Francis in the front courtyard of that school. And he had like his arms up, but a little bird like sitting there because it was supposed to be very animal centric.
Yeah.
I love that. Let me be an instrument of your peace. It feels so potent, doesn't it, at this time in the world as well? So it's like,
and held. I mean, and like you said, politically here in the US, things are getting wild westy and just very, and I could get wrapped up into it. I have friends that bitch and moan and complain about it all the time. And I am doing my best to hold space for an understanding that things were broken before this. It's not like things were great beforehand.
Yeah, exactly.
And in homeopathy, they talk about pushing the pendulum all the way to the side so that it can resettle back into where it's mostly needs to be. I think he's an intense pendulum, really shoving us all the way to our full-on anti-place of happiness and peace. But it's really activating a whole lot of people to pay more attention and say, whoa, this isn't what I really want.
Yeah.
And so let's see what happens. Are we going to have chaos for several years? Maybe. Is the democracy falling? Maybe. Is our Constitution at risk? Absolutely. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Even there's big changes, I think, afoot, even in a matter of 5 days. So who knows in hindsight? It's funny. I just watched a comedian that was like a comedy show from a couple years ago. And what he was saying was like, how great it is to be in America. And I was like, oh, dude, this is not aged.
It has not. It has not.
And I sit here and make predictions and then have things change tomorrow because that's the pace of things, going back to our pacing, right?
That is,
Who knows when this episode airs what actually is happening in the world, but I'm just going to continue to be a beacon of peace and send prayers for everybody and know that the right we are being activated as women. And I'm seeing it even in my older friends. They're saying, oh, you know what? I'm not tolerating the bullshit. My husband, who's since passed and didn't let the dog on the bed and didn't want a TV in the bedroom. She's like, I'm doing that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my life. I can do what I want. To see the women, like each little micro, it's again going back to the dahlia of expressing itself a little bit more and expanding a little bit more each breath.
So cool. It's so cool. It's just such a reminder that, I don't know, like I know the flavor has been all about miracles, but as we're talking, I'm like more and more rulership. And then with the rulership comes that we are always at power to choose our reality. And miracles don't occur if we don't believe that they can, because we don't. Our brains are so good at proving ourselves. Have you got the door open or closed?
Yeah.
I have so loved this chat. Sorry, you go.
One of the greatest books that I've read is Florence Scovel Shinn has a book called Your Word is Your Wand. Have you ever seen her stuff?
No, I
She was
haven't.
she's a metaphysician from probably 100 years ago, maybe more. And she has, it's a collection of 4 books that's all in one, but it's all stories of miracles and bizarre things that happen, but it plants a seed for people to not have a typical reality of what has been expected of them. And it's really, and she talks about how your word is your wand. And anytime a friend of mine stands around me and says, oh, I'm so broke, I'm like, no, we're not letting that in here. That energy is just, bank accounts catching up to you. Yeah. Miracles are on the way, whatever else you want to say, but that is not language I'm tolerating.
You know, I have been doing that from birth with my kids. Every time anyone in our household says something out loud that you wouldn't really want to be manifesting, I'm like, no, return to sender, delete with the kids. It's a brat. We're kind of annoying. You're having a hissy fit at life and you want to be like having a TNT and kids are like, not, shut up. Not now, child.
Oh, damn, when they turn it back on you, I know it's...
Yeah, my husband's favorite thing is if I'm having a hissy fit in my business, he'll be like, and if this was a client, what would you be? Shut up. I'm not available for you turning the mirror on me at the moment.
Can you just give me space to have my tantrum, please? That would be great. And when I'm done, I will move on and you can resume.
And then I will come back and say, hey, yeah, you were right. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
Sometimes we just have to move through it.
I know we've talked about your new evolution, but where can people find you? But also, we haven't really talked about the new expansion of your work in terms of the length of time that people get to come and play with you, because there is no single session toe dipping available in your field anymore, which I'm very excited about.
Me too. I've always I've enjoyed the clients that stick with me and work with me on a consistent basis. And this builds consistency into it because that's going to be how they get the results. Yeah. Even more clients, even the one-offs get magical results. But I really am excited to see how they evolve with this new model. Yeah. It's so juicy. My website is Amanda H as in house, young, or healing, I guess. H as in healing, young, YOUNG.com. I'm in the States, so we have the magical.com. Yeah. And yeah, I'm going to work with clients if they have one thing that they really need to work on. Like maybe they're on a project and they're just like, I really want to focus on this one thing. We can do a 1-month intensive. Mm-hmm. And if they want longer term support, which I expect most people are going to do 3 months with me and really dive into that, doing weekly sessions, I think probably 3, sometimes maybe 4 sessions a month, but a week of integration. It really depends on the client, how much they need. Some of those sessions could be 15 minutes for people. If they're high-powered CEOs and they only have 15 minutes to get something done, we can tweak it in that amount of time. So it's not, I'm really very focused on the fact that it's not about how much time you spend in the room with me. It's about getting the job done. And if you only need one message that's just, hey, you don't have a fear of flying, we need to clean this one little trauma up and boom, exactly. Unlock next. But yeah, they can work with me for 3, 6, or 9 months. And depending on that, it's a flat amount for the month. And we are going to step into the field together. They get to stay under my wing. I'm recognizing that when people work with me, I am constantly finding articles or little things that are going to spark something in them. And I'll, even if it's just a little meme or something like that, I do that pebbling thing with the neurosparkly. It's giving me a voice.
Love.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of that, but it gives me a lot more space to be able to do that for people in a deeper way. And then checking in with them. It's not, I don't want to be the therapy session that when somebody's in crisis, that they don't call me and say, hey, I'm in crisis. And if somebody falls, I want them to be able to text me and say, hey, can you clean me out? Which I don't really talk to about a lot of my clients. I was trained to teach people how to do energy mastery.
Yes.
So I have the ability, if somebody gets a concussion or is having a panic attack or whatever, where I have the ability to wave my hands from across the globe and help that be released much faster. So it's allowing all those gifts to come online and blend for me in a new way.
It's having your personal miracle queen ruler in the house. But also what I love about the way that you hold space for people is it's very different to the feeling of people being like creating dependency, because you're also.
Oh, for sure not. Hell no.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're not available for that shit. But just the onflow of being able to marinate in this field of miracles is that it becomes your normal, but also you're, I don't know, able to use the tools as well yourself so that you're expanding your capacity to hold more. We talk about this all the time. Like expansion, people think it's like expanding into only the good things. And so no, it's expanding into just being able to hold more of the very varied human experience and emotion. But that also means that you're not collapsing yourself down so that then the miracle can't come in. So that is this is the joy point. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. And part of that is me teaching people. I've learned all these different tools and I've had the system on so many things. This is how I think about boundaries. This is the tool I use to reprogram mindset things. So people learn these different tools and techniques, even return to sender. So many people don't even know how you can just be like, hey, is this my energy? Is this their energy? Like little muscle testing, whatever those little tools are, there are things that it's almost like the basics that you have in your pantry or your fridge all the time.
Yeah.
And they are just my go-tos, but other people don't have that. And then how are they creating miracles if they don't have the standard screwdriver
They're not.
and a pair of scissors? And they're not. And they're subscribing to the struggle and there's way more magical ways to do things in life. And it's so fun to watch my kids. You don't think about it when you have kids and you're an energy healer, woo-woo, miracle, instigator. My kids come home and they have all these magical things that happen in their lives. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's just normal. Yeah, that's my normal. Okay. And other people.
I had something up. I actually had a whole day of that like real feeling. It was so funny. It started with at Pilates, like my Pilates teacher is 10 years younger than me. So her soundtrack is generally like what she would listen to when she grew up. But for some reason this morning she had the 90s rock on and I was like, best soundtrack. And then there was like, I was followed around by all of the best music all day and stuff. And I'm like, of course it's like this. Of course it's like this. And it's so funny because I forget. And then you slip back into that. I'm like, of course it's like this. It's like, this is just the way of the universe if you allow it to be. So
yeah,
thank you.
It's good things. Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been delightful as always. You're so
by the time this is out, you'll be in your new home. Woo. We might even have to put an addendum on the show notes so everyone knows what you manifested. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my lease is up end of May.
Yep.
And my birthday's in June. So there's a big shift in that energetic happening for the second half of the year too. So all the magic, all the miracles happening. Just so excited.
With this sunlight beaming on your face for the whole interview, I'm like, and you're going into your spring. So yes, it's the time of starting new things. And
I'm definitely coming out of my cave and wiggling around more and feeling into
I am heading into mine. So as I'm sitting here, I'm like, I really need to bring my socks over here, my fluffy bed socks, because the floor in this office, because I haven't had this season in this office yet, is actually quite chilly. So I'm like, okay, there's going to have to be some sort of little sheepskin or something under my tootsies. Thank you so much, Amanda. I'm so excited for you to just, be owning everything that you bring to the table in a whole new way and inviting yourself into your own evolution, because of course that's the slipstream. So excited to see. comes next.
I'm so grateful to have had you as a guide and a coach on my journey, because I've been in your potent group now for, I don't know, 3 months, and it's been
We're halfway.
life-changing. Yeah, it's been life-changing. And even doing scene, and it was so funny that in the middle of the night, one night I was up in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden I'm scrolling through Instagram for some reason, and I saw your thing, and I was like, it just whispered. It was like, "Psst, you need to be here." And I was like, oh, I was like, wait, $33.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, that's all I got to do to get into my voice and visibility. And then it just gently pulled me in. And I remember you saying, Amanda, why didn't you sign up for Potent? What the hell? And I was
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't think I'm supposed to be in it. And then you're like, but you are. And then I was like, you're right. Okay, fine. And, but like,
That's when I do get the visual things. Like, I was so clear on who was coming in, and I was like, I just don't get it. I haven't got her application yet. I don't understand why this is happening, because she's already in the circle. I can see her. I'm glad you said.
it's fine, because sometimes I don't know. I was like, I just have had so much bullshit around coaches coaching coaches to coach coaches. And I just was like, do I really need another fucking thing? And then you're like, let me just put this invitation right in front of your nose and let you actually feel it. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. And I'm so glad I did, because I've really appreciated the support, and just the group is beautiful. How you hold space for us is beautiful. And just your knowledge and ability. And you just have so many talents and so many gifts. And I love that you're sharing them. So thank you.
Thank you. It feels beautiful to be seen and recognized. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that I said yes to my own next level invitation and held seen in my whole self, because the people like you that have come into my field as a result, that's what I feel like we forget, that yes, the expansion feels scary, but oh my God, the reciprocal, like what starts to unfold if you can just hold yourself through that expansion.
Yeah.
Like the women that are in we had the opening call yesterday for G-Spot, and just the people in that circle, I'm like, how do I get this lucky? I'm like, it's not luck. It's actually being honest with all that you are, and then allowing yourself to be seen, and then allowing that to be exactly what we were just talking about. The invitation is always there for the people that come into your field to step into their full power too. And that's the way that we will change the world. And this is why, like, when people say, why are you not watching the news? I'm like, I don't need to watch the news. I'm doing everything that I can, which then ripples out to the next woman, because I truly believe it is the women standing up that will make a change. And yeah, I do totally agree with that pendulum. Yeah. It's like, we have to unfortunately get to the collapse stage. But also, I don't know too much about this, but the human design end of things, like we change into the cross of the Phoenix in 2027. So there's some big, and I don't really understand. I don't know. At the moment, we're in a we energy. So it's like the collapse of anything that's not right with the community and the collection of the we. But then the cross of the sleeping Phoenix is I energy. So it's going to be much more about emotional intelligence and emotional feeling and sensing. And I'm like, that's interesting, because that is not how the world works right now.
And I've been told similarly that every human is going to start needing energetic powers and abilities to start navigating this. And I'm one of those people that's got it. And I will say too, that you, just by leading and showing, like you're showing up, you're showing behind the scenes how you're doing things, and you're giving other people the courage, like you said, to actually do it. And I'm one of those people that now has the courage, because I'm like, Kylie can do it. I can do it too.
Yeah, exactly. And when we don't bloody polish ourselves up, people realize Kylie's just a normal person. She's just a messy, yes, magical, chaotic, sometimes depressed, sometimes, high on life person. Like, she's just like one of us. And I think that's the biggest damage that we do when we try and only show the little shiny bits of us out there, because then we make ourselves unapproachable and people cannot see themselves in us. And that's a really big problem, because no one, no matter how much success they show on the outside, it doesn't mean that they've got their shit together in every single corner of life, because, it's just not what life is.
It perpetuates trauma. It just perpetuates the trauma, and it creates even more damage, instead of just being able to say to somebody like, yeah, I'm hurting. And we see it in the masculine culture so often. And I just, I'm excited to be raising a son who he literally came up to me the other day and was like, look at all the sexualization of women in my video games, Mom. And I was like, yeah, the fact that he's talking about that at 15 makes me one proud mama, because
And the fact that he loves to cuddle his mother still.
Oh my God.
Such a snuggle bunny. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to, I feel like I'm contributing really beautiful humans to the world that are going to be the change makers. They're not necessarily the doctors, the lawyers, the Harvard students, but they are the love that we need more so than anything. And I don't need them to achieve and accomplish. I need them to just be themselves. And I think I'm so glad that I'm able to give them that gift. And I wish that gift was given to me. And I'm glad that they will then potentially be able to give it to any future generations and people that they're around, because that is how the tsunami of change, I always think of the tsunami of change hitting the world and being able to ripple out more so in the butterfly effect. It's what if the butterfly effect was an entire tsunami of amazing love that just washes over the planet? That feels yummy to me.
Doesn't it? Oh,
yeah.
I feel that. The butterfly effect never ever felt true for me. I don't know. Like, I know it's all scientifically proven, but I'm like, I don't know. It's something in me that doesn't feel that in a visceral sense. But a tsunami, and as you're talking about a tsunami, if all of us are rising up at the same time, like, we can't make a tsunami out of one person, but we can out of a collective. And that's that I feel. Not to say the butterfly effect is not true. I'm just saying, for me individually, it never really resonated, but
it almost feels like each little butterfly cancels out the other butterflies, and it's just a bunch of chaos.
Okay.
But I did believe this evolved into the next level, which is the wave.
Yeah. Let's just do that. Skip the butterfly. Go to the wave. Thank you, beautiful lady. Oh, have such a nice weekend. I'm just heading into 5 days off, so I'm very excited.
Gonna be amazing.
Oh, have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, you too.
There you go, beautiful one. Another delicious, juicy, truth-talking episode with a disruptor rebel or revolutionary sharing the identity shifts and the mess and the magic of leading right on the edge of your expansion and going first as a visionary leader, as a woman creating a business and inviting people to completely new ways of learning, living, loving, and leading. It is not lost on me that you have invested your time and your energy in listening to the show. I am so grateful for your beautiful heart, for the work that you do in the world. And I know that if you're here, you are more than likely one of what I call the Mad Hatters. So the quirky, colourful, creative, out of the box, often neurosparkly, paradigm shifters and thought leaders. So I'm so grateful that you're here. If you loved this episode, which I'm sure you did, please do me a favor and share it with someone else who needs to understand that their quirkiness and their full unapologetic self-expression is more than enough, and in fact is the secret sauce to growing a wildly successful, abundant, nourishing, sustainable business. So here is to us, the Mad Hatters, the crazy out-of-the-box people saying no to old paradigms and inviting into the new. And if you'd love to go the extra mile, please make sure that you subscribe on the platform that you're on so you never miss an episode. And hey, it would be sweet, sweet, sweet if you would leave us a 5-star review. It means the world to us, and it helps us get this truth talk and this magic and this power out to even more Mad Hatters. So have a beautiful day, and I will speak with you next week.